Friends, there are hundreds of molds that can be pathogenic. They can cause disease in man. Many of them grow inside our house. Penicillium, Stachybotrys, and so forth. Chris Chase is going to be here with a pioneer and teach us a little bit about that. By the way, hundreds of molds, there are thousands of plants that can help us get better. One of them is called Stevia. It's a sweetener. Nurse Jenny Herbachik is going to be talking about that. I'm going to be take a 5-minute segment and talk a little bit about what I taught doctors out in San Diego about plants and cancer. And then finally, any of you worried about autism, maybe a child with it or heartburn, Kyle and I are going to end today's show discussing all that and more on today's Know the Cause. Today's Know the Cause is brought to you by Pioneer, better air for your home. My name is Doug Kaufman. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. You know, it's about time the National Institute of Health says what are some of the health effects associated with mold exposure. Chris, you and I might say, gee, asthma, autoimmune disease, arthritis, lupus, Alzheimer's, cancer, but at least they're moving in the right direction. Listen to what they say. Nasal and sinus congestion, a little bit of eye irritation, sometimes you get a little blurred vision, sore throat, chronic cough. I mean, it's so amazing the way these huge organizations aren't cognizant that mold can mutate your DNA and initiate health problems you don't even want to talk about. But at least they're saying, ooh, that might be mold in your environment. Chris Chase joins me right now. He is the president of a company. Pioneer is the unit this company sells. HealthQuest Technologies is his company. This unit, folks, I got to tell you, isn't that pretty? It's a nightlight for you. But what this nightlight does is without a fan, very quietly, it's emitting positive ions through this technology called photocatalysis. And it's attracting the positive ion molds and chemicals and animal dander, and it's zapping them out of your environment quietly. And every year you pull this little light source out, put a new one in, and away you go for another year. I have 3 of these in my home. So first of all, I'm kind of proud that the NIH is finally saying mold may have some negative health effects, but a little cough, a little itchy skin, I think it's much deeper than that.
Well, I think we also need to make the connection, Doug, that, you know, why are your eyes watering? Why do you have a cough? Why do you have your skin itching and that sort of thing? It's because you're inhaling the mold. The mold gets down into your lungs. The heart pumps blood into your lungs to transfer oxygen to the cells in your body so that you can metabolize what you've eaten, you know, and live. Well, you know, in the process of doing that, the blood is also transferring the mold that you've inhaled to your skin, to your eyes, to your liver, you know, and causing these health problems. So if you want to treat those conditions, you've got to treat the air that you're breathing. And this technology will help you do that.
I wonder, Chris, because I remember a time when, you know, no one talked about mold. It wasn't, folks, you have to understand, it was 1963 when Kennedy was assassinated. That's when the word mycotoxin was invented. We didn't know much about mold back then. So in the grand scheme of things, 55 years, all of a sudden we've come up with the idea 400 molds have been identified. Forget mold. If you have bacterial contaminants, if you have dog dander, you know, or cat dander in your house, if you go outside and come in with ragweed or pigweed all over your body, this is a device to help you with your allergies. How did we get in this mess? I remember Mrs. O'Leary opening the red schoolhouse window and letting the air blow through. They don't do that anymore.
Well, I mean, frankly, Doug, the air outside is cleaner than the air in your homes, and the problem dates back to when we started building more energy efficient homes. When you do that, you let less energy out, but you also let almost zero pollutants out of your home, so it builds up over time. And you're literally living in an incubator that's growing mold, bacteria, and then you wonder why kids that stay inside all day long playing on their iPads or or whatever, why they're having asthma problems and and other health problems that we didn't have when we were coming up. I mean, and that's the reason.
You bring up a really good point, and that is outdoor air is so contaminated. The chemicals, the smog, et cetera, but indoor air has become worse. You can't do much about the outdoor air. You'd have to have a huge one of these, right? Placed right in the middle of the U.S. You can do something about your indoor air. Now, when we get back, I want to share with you how this technology is driven and share with you how it works, how you have to adapt to it. Every year, you got to take this one out, put a new one in. But listen, shh, quiet, no noise. It's called the Pioneer. When we get back, we'll share more information about this amazing unit. So many of you folks have contacted me via the live show that we do on Facebook a couple times a week and said, Doug, I know that if my home is sick and I'm coughing and wheezing and have asthma or, bloody noses, et cetera, that I'm sick, I can kind of fix me. I know that you stop feeding it. I know about the Kaufman diet. I know about the supplements, even the medications that we talk about as remediating mold inside my body. But the problem is you go to work or church, and then you come home, and there you are again in that sick home. This little unit, the Pioneer, has made so much difference in so many people. We have 3 of them at home. I bought them through the years. If you can buy one of them, put it in your bedroom. Chris, explain a little bit about the technology. This isn't your standard air cleaner.
Well, for any technology to be effective, Doug, it's got to treat the air that you're breathing. And frankly, most of the products that we see out there today don't effectively treat the air that you're breathing. They're relying on mechanical devices to draw air from the room that you're in into the unit and treat the air in that unit. The problem with that is that you've got a little 3 or 4 inch fan that just cannot mechanically, physically
bring
air from across the room over to where the unit is. So if you're sitting in your lounger and your air treatment system is over here, you're not getting any effect. So it's not doing you any good. The technology behind this product uses the fact that the pollutants in your home have a positive charge to them. When you turn the light, it's a light-driven technology. When you turn that light on, it's shined on a target area. We call it's a titanium dioxide target, and you create a photocatalytic reaction. That's a big word, but basically it converts hydroxyl radicals into a negatively charged ion.
Negative charged ions are good.
Right, exactly. A lot of people, that's a good point. A lot of people think when you say negative that's bad, but negative, in this case is good. But what happens is the positively charged pollutants act like a magnet and draw the negatively charged technology out, and it's attracted to the pollutant, and it goes all over the room. So the fact that you've got the unit sitting here and you're sitting across the room in your lounger, you're still getting treated. And that's the point. If you don't get the air that you're breathing that's polluted treated then you're going to continue to have a problem. And if you think the air in your home is not polluted, think about what you do every day. Do you have cats or dogs in the home? Well, you've got pet dander. Do you clean your home with bleach and ammonia and Windex and products like that? Well, that's chemicals that you're inhaling. Where's that going? You know, just because you can't smell it anymore, and you've got a energy efficient home, it can't get out. You know, do you have dust in your home? Do you have, in the wintertime, do you have a fireplace and use that? Well, you're inhaling smoke particles.
Does
when you
this
do
technology treat all of those, or just some of
Absolutely.
them? All of them. Chemicals and antigens like pollen, et cetera.
It treats all three major categories of air pollutants. Microbial, which includes germs, bacteria, mold, fungi. It treats particulate, pollen, pet dander, dust, smoke, and it treats chemicals or odors. Odors and chemicals are basically a molecule, and it treats those as well.
There is the telephone number, folks. Just pick up the phone and give them a buzz. Just quickly, sidebar. I had a problem in my little office over here. It smelled so mildewy, and we called the air conditioning guy, and he put some kind of filtration system in there. Didn't work. So I had this on overnight. Wham, this morning, gone. Wonderful, wonderful unit. It's called a Pioneer. There's the phone number. Give them a buzz. They'll be happy to talk with you about what this can probably do to your health. Thank you, Chris. Should we discuss plants that are good for your health? How about sweeteners? Are you confused when you walk into a store and see 50 of them? Stevia is a good way to go, says Nurse Jenny Herbacek. And then after she's done, I'm going to talk to you of what I taught doctors, cancer doctors, about the goodness of plants.
Hi, I'm Jenny Herbacek with the Cancer Connection. We all know that those low-calorie synthetic sweeteners, the ones that come in those little colorful packets, are linked to health issues, ranging from cancer to alterations in the gut flora. But how about stevia? So far, no health risks have been identified. Stevia is extracted from the leaves of a South American plant. It's been used for centuries. Let me give you a tip when shopping for stevia. Look for the green stevia powder, which is simply ground up stevia leaves, not the chemically processed white stevia powders in stevia liquids. Many stevia powders contain large amounts of maltodextrin, often derived from GMO corn, to cut the strong flavor of the stevia extract. So check your label and go for the green. For Know the Cause, I'm Jenny Herbacek.
You know, when you get my age and you've worked in one field for a long period of time, I'm going on my 47th year in this field, you see a lot of things come and go. I remember maybe it was the 70s where gluten enteropathy, gluten sensitivity was a big deal. And then, poof, it disappeared. It's back. Folks, here's what's happening. The first few patients gave a blood test and they saw anti-gluten antibodies in their blood, so the doctor said, wow, you must have a gluten problem, be allergic to gluten. So they went off wheat and other, barley and wheat or something, and they begin feeling much, much better. And so just blanket across America right now, you're going to a doctor and saying, wow, I got stomach problems or breathing problems. And the doctor is saying, I think you might be gluten sensitive. I want you to go home and go off wheat. Wheat's in everything. I once learned that table pepper is like 20% wheat. It's in everything. And so these people go home and they go off all wheat, and sure enough, in a few days, they feel great. And doctors say, see, you have gluten sensitivity. Do you really? Is this gluten thing blown totally out of control? I've seen beer with gluten-free written on it. I mean, I've seen candy that's gluten-free. Remember, gluten-free is corn okay, is yeast okay, is sugar okay. So after a few weeks on this gluten-free diet, wheat-free diet, they begin to feel kind of punk again without realizing that it's the corn and the sugar maybe that's making them feel punk. Why? What is it in corn and sugar? It's mycotoxins, it's fungal metabolites that might have caused the problem in the first place. So just walk down this road with me. as you're watching this, keep in mind that as a doctor, if all you own is a hammer, then the whole world looks like a nail to you, right? No screws out there, just nails. Okay, here we go. So gluten sensitivity, get this, researchers presenting at the 2016 United European, not American, Gastroenterology Conference have identified a group of non-gluten proteins that can trigger symptoms of asthma, MS, chronic pain, and more. If not gluten, what is it in wheat that's causing the sickness associated with eating it? Folks, that has to be the answer. Now, you and I, because you've been a viewer of Know the Cause for many, many years, Doug, this is a no-brainer. Wheat, you are teaching us, often has mycotoxins in it. All these people going off wheat and feeling better, was it gluten or was it going off the poisons that are deposited in the wheat during harvest or after harvest while they're sitting in silos? I think it's the mycotoxins, but they don't. There's got to be something in that wheat that's causing these reactions, and if it's not gluten, they're going to dig. And in Europe, they're digging, and here's what they're blaming it on. Researchers believe that perhaps another protein, a different one in wheat, called amylase trypsin inhibitors, might cause the symptoms. They're always thinking something that is in this wheat. They're not thinking mycotoxins. The ATIs, amylase trypsin inhibitors, are a small group representing about 4% of wheat proteins, but they are powerful, says this group. It just will never cease to amaze me. If you don't know fungus, do you really know nutrition? Do you really know health? Do you really know clinical medicine? If you don't know fungus. So what is extracted from every doctor's education? Mycology, the study of fungus. Lots of bacteria, lots of virus. Okay, vaginal yeast, ringworm, jock itch, toenail fungus. That's the only way yeast can impact you. Wrong. I think it causes cancer. And I have some data that's very, very compelling, as you know. So go with me on this last slide. Researchers believe, hey, let's stop this nonsense. Mycotoxins inhibit wellness. They can make us sick, and not a specific enzyme like ATIs. Wheat is loaded with mycotoxins, yet the word mycotoxin in this European convention did not appear either in the article or in the convention. Folks, when I'm teaching physicians at some of these meetings, I mean, it's absolutely amazing when you see their faces. The question arises, are mushrooms okay? Well, I don't really know, but they're fungus. They're not a vegetable, so I'd avoid them. Wow. Do antibiotics cause problems? Dr. Costantini with the World Health Organization said antibiotics are actually mycotoxins, and mycotoxins cause cancer. When you look out at this crowd of the most educated, wonderful people you've ever met, our doctors, they represent all of our doctors, it's amazing to me how those huge brains hold all this information, but how they also miss the most important course in medical education. Okay, mycotoxins are in wheat. End of story. And welcome back, friends. Thank you for joining us. Kyle Drew joins me right now. I do a live show once a week, sometimes twice a week on Facebook. If you really want to cut to the chase with me, if you have a question for me, go to that live show, join us. Even if you don't ask a question, listen to the questions people have. I do have fun. This isn't makeup or sport coats. This is live. Doug somewhere in Austin or somewhere doing a live show, and it's really caught on. Thank you for that, and thank you for being a part of that also, because you got the answers, Kyle. You are the supplement guy with a degree in chemistry. It's interesting you're not making synthetic drugs, but in fact studying supplements, and there's always new ones. Someone asked me the other night when you were here about potato starch, and I thought, potato starch? Why would someone squeeze a potato? Isn't that what you spray on shirts to starch them? And he knew what potato starch was, and I didn't. What is potato starch?
It's all fun stuff, and that's the thing. People think that it's the pharmaceutical drugs that are the powerful things.
Right.
I got to tell you, I'm not as impressed as I am with food, herbals, and natural products.
And you sold drugs for years.
Yeah, I sold chemo and all the rest.
Okay, so the questions go like this. We've tried so many things for our nonverbal autistic son. and he is so anxious, he can't participate in things. Oh man, I hate to hear this. He can get violent. I just hate for him to be so anxious. I don't know anymore what to do. He's been on the phase 1 for over 5 years. Thanks, Doug.
Bless her
Says
heart.
Kim.
Kim, I sent a family with a son who was living in a facility. And he
Autistic
was
son.
autistic son living in a facility, couldn't live at home, was starting to get, it was dangerous. But I sent them down to Dr. Lynn Jennings. And what you need to know is a fungus-friendly doctor. Those are the words that you need, not Dr. Lynn. If you can get to Dr. Lynn Jennings, that'd be great, but a fungus-friendly physician. And she put the son on nystatin first. Now that's just a gut antifungal, okay? Primarily, not so much systemic. And the next time I saw this family, it was about 6 to 10 months later, and the mom ran up to me and said, I want you to come meet my son. He's living with us again. Wow. It was an incredible story, but it speaks to the idea that you can't give up, and I know you're not giving up. I know that sometimes you feel like giving up because you're banging your head against the wall and you're not seeing any change. But if we can get you in front of a fungus-friendly doctor and possibly go nystatin and who knows what else, continue with the phase 1 diet, maybe, just maybe, we can start to see some progress.
Look, Billy Crook published on depression being linked to fungus. Nystatin is an antifungal. Next question, Doug, I have 2 areas biopsied melanoma, but they are contained in the skin. I'm scheduled to have them excised tomorrow morning. I'm on the Kaufman diet. Do you think melanoma is connected with mycotoxins? No, I'm pretty convinced that cancer is in general. Here's the cool thing. This is contained in the skin. So they'll probably do what they call a Mohs procedure. I remember scrubbing for those. Wow. But they'll probably cut margins around the melanoma just to make sure they got it all. But then what you want to do is go back and say, okay, how do I prevent this from ever coming back? I think lifestyle, check your home. Something may be dropping on your skin. Check your home, make sure it's mycotoxin fungus free, and see if that doesn't help. Real quickly, do we have one more? Please tell me what I can take for reflux and heartburn. I don't know what to take for reflux, but I'm suffering. I don't have any other issues but GERD. Don't you hear this? Marcia has this problem.
Yeah, we have to get the diet right. Otherwise, it's just acidic and all the rest. I don't like those acid blockers at all.
Antacids.
That's just me. Because stomach acid is there for a reason. You're supposed to have that. Okay, so something's amiss here. So get the diet right. Supplemental. I like apple cider vinegar for this, you know? I like some apple cider vinegar, maybe put it in some water, a little cinnamon, a little stevia to make it go down. It actually tastes really good when you do that, but it really helps to calm things down along with L-glutamine. L-glutamine is just, maybe that should be the frontline recommendation. So L-glutamine, apple cider vinegar, you got to have probiotics. You got to have probiotics.
Hydrochloric acid sometimes.
But hydrochloric acid when you're eating your food. Don't take it on an empty stomach because it burns. Okay. It's acid. But make sure and take it with your meal to help break down that food. I think that's a good combination.
Yeah, great questions on live. You can hear me live every week now. Kyle, thank you for being here. You bet. You know what I just read recently? Resveratrol, that grape skin extract, potent antifungal, is causing apoptosis, death of cancer cells, colon cancer cells in mice that they induce cancer in. So these plants, folks, are very, very powerful. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming in. Folks, this is The Pioneer. Feel free to give them a buzz. I have 3 of these in my home and 1 in my office. Wonderful for cleaning the air, safely cleaning the air. Thank you also, Jenny Herbacek, Stevia, another plant that's very, very sweet. And because it's a plant, I feel safe in saying it's a great sweetener if you've got to get some sweetener in your body. Thank you, Kyle. Autism, heartburn, you know, a whole lot of symptoms that we humans suffer from. I think can be changed by simply changing your diet. That's what you learned about today. There are great supplements. Sometimes medications are needed, but folks, always ask your doctor first, could I change my diet and try supplements before the medications? God bless you. We'll see you next time.